All right, first rule of the channel, we not talk about the channel. Second rule of the channel, this is not legal advice. So this is going to be how the sausage was made for week 7 of fantasy football. And right now, heading into the Monday night games, Jahmyr Gibbs, he's going to be fantasy MVP right now. He did 15 carries, 116, 2 touchdowns, another 4 for 4 for 44. Overall, it looks like scoring was generally down this week. Russell Wilson, he's the quarterback one right now. 16 for 29, 264, 2 touchdowns. He does fall in the end zone on a quarterback sneak. And then the Sun God, he is wide receiver one, 8 for 8, 112, 1 touchdown. George Pickens with the upgrade of Russell Wilson, 5 for 9, 111 and a touchdown. There's Brian Thomas. So hopefully you didn't bench him like I thought I should do in my main money league. Over there, when it comes to the tight ends, I'm not particularly interested in Jonnu Smith when it comes to the Dolphins. But Jonnu or David Njoku, again, vacated targets go to running backs first and then tight end second with the Amari Cooper trade. So 10 for 14 and then 76 yards and a touchdown. And that gets really interesting with it does look like Deshaun Watson tore his Achilles today. Kickers, Will Lutz, they're kickers. Generally, the theoretical, holy grail would be like kickers attached to okay offenses that can't score touchdowns. I don't know how predictive that is on a week-to-week basis. I've never been able to figure it out. And then the Broncos, they were on Thursday night. Again, rookie quarterback without his top 2 receivers. That's easy to predict. The Rams going up against the Raiders. The Raiders have been a train wreck. They are the defense, too. They did score a defensive touchdown. All right, moving on to the box scores. You're looking at the Ravens and the Buccaneers, and the Chargers and the Cardinals are yet to play on Monday night. Already talked about the Broncos and the Saints today and also in the Grift. I'll move on to that. So Jaguars and Patriots over in London. It looks like it was 22-10 at halftime, and then the Jaguars, they score 10 points, and the Patriots score 6. Drake May in this one, Gamecast. Drake May, he does throw 2 touchdown passes in the game. So like 276, 2 touchdowns. So he is a top 10 quarterback this week, whether we like it or not. And that's without the Nimbly Bimley, only 3 for 18 to go along with this. Some of the other ones I did see, and I haven't seen any news on it, so I can't really talk about it at this point. Demario Douglas got knocked out with an injury. Looks like Jalen Polk got knocked out with an injury. Where's he at? Keyshawn Boutte, I think at halftime, led all receivers in routes. Shout out to the guy in the comments that said like Hunter Henry could be a role right now. 9 for 8 for 92 in this game. And then outside of Brian Thomas doing a 5 for 5 for 89 touchdown again. Not necessarily a good offense, but he does look like he's the number one there. We could start theoretically talking about him being a league winner at this point in the season. So Travis Etienne was inactive with that hamstring, and then Tank Bigsby comes in and does 26 for 118 and 2 touchdowns. So it doesn't really matter what Trevor Lawrence did overall in the game. And then Drake May, like I said, only 3 for 18. So as long as he's throwing touchdowns and he's got some nimbly bimbly, he could be a role. And again, his schedule coming up is probably not a guy he's probably a guy I would be streaming around when he gets down to it. So Seahawks and Falcons, and I generally thought the Seahawks were controlling the game on offense. No, that wasn't the case. Like Kirk Cousins turns the ball over 3 times, 2 picks and a fumble. So Geno Smith only 28 pass attempts, 2 touchdowns in this one. Kenneth Walker wasn't efficient early, but he falls in the end zone twice. 1 through the air and 1 through the ground. It did look like DK tore his ACL early, and early news was, and now it looks like it may not be that big of a deal. In this one, he does get a touchdown pass on his 7 targets, 4 for 99. And then Kenneth Walker, I said, already falls in the end zone also. So with the game flow the way it is, and it was 17-7 at halftime for the Seahawks, Tyler Algier, the hammer, he was generally not a part of the offense. 5 for 36 on the ground, and then another like 1 target. So again, if you rolled him out there, it does look like Bijan is going to be the guy in those non positive or neutral, or in those negative script games like this was. It turned out into being, and Bijan falls in the end zone on his 21 carries, and then he also has 5 for 3 for 40 in the passing game. So Kyle Pitts 9 for 7 for 65. Drake London 8 for 6 for 63. He does tug, and then Darnell Mooney does 8 targets, but they're not very efficient. 5 for 46. So yeah, he's wide receiver too, or close enough for it to matter in general. And then you got a couple guys like, because it was a blowout, Jace McCullen gets in late. I did see that, and then Casey Washington actually has a reception to go along with it later in your game. And this was one of the ones, the Seahawks and the Falcons, that were supposed to be like probably one of the higher fantasy scoring weeks. And because the Falcons, like Kirk Cousins, was a little bit of a turnover machine, and he does tend to do that a couple times in the season, you don't get the scoring from both sides of the table. Texans and Bills. So if Texans have a good defense, they were up 10-7 at halftime, and then the Bills scored 27 unanswered in the second half. So you're looking at Mason Rudolph first and foremost. Don't care about him. He may be slightly better than Will Levis, but it doesn't matter. Tony Pollard does full bell cow with Tajay Spears being out 16 carries, 61 yards. Don't care about anything else, and he did have 6 targets, but only like 2 for 4 through the air. So Josh Allen, 21 of 33, 323, 2 touchdowns. Didn't really do any nimbly bimbly. His 2 touchdowns, one went to Amari Cooper, and it did look like Keon Coleman had to tell him how to run the route on that play from what I saw. And then the other one went to Ty Johnson, the running back. James Cook was not involved with the offense early in the game from what I saw. Or, excuse me, Ray Davis was not involved with the offense early in the game from what I saw. It was James Cook, but he was not efficient in the game. 12 for 32 and a touchdown. Ray Davis, the touchdown did come late from what I can remember, when it was pretty much a blowout. So Ray Davis scores with 1:53 left in the game. So he was not involved with the offense overall early. And then Keon Coleman, 7 targets, 4 for 125. That's a little interesting. Amari Cooper, 5 for 4 for 66. Again, he's just getting integrated. 7 for 7 for 65 for Khalil Shakur. Then Dalton Kincaid, 6 targets, 3 for 52. Like that's your starting offense right there when those guys. So again, can we guess like how it's going to shake out for the rest of the year? Probably, I'm going to guess not. Maybe Amari Cooper's going to stay 8 targets a game, and the other guys are going to be the ones that like are very inconsistent, especially like with Keon Coleman doing the 7 for 4 for 125, like long of 57 in this one. All right, Bengals and Browns. It was 7-6 Bengals at halftime, and then Deshaun Watson, so he tears his Achilles, and then Jameis Winston is the emergency quarterback in this game. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, DTR, he comes in and breaks his thumb, throws 2 picks. That's how Jameis Winston comes in the game. He throws a late touchdown pass to David Njoku, and then they go for 2, and then they're within 7. So like it almost became a game because like they had to play Jameis Winston. At this point, it does look like the Browns were trying to tank, and they couldn't even, because of their Browns, they couldn't even tank correctly on that one. So like maybe we're gonna get Jameis Winston, maybe we're gonna get like full upgrade. So one of the guys on we'll talk about like right now on Chasing the Dragon wasn't gonna be interested in Cedric Tillman with Deshaun Watson. Now that theoretically we could talk about like Jameis Winston, 12 for 8 for 81, that gets a little interesting. And again, the upgrade of David Njoku, 14 for 10 for 76 and a touchdown. Those are probably the only guys I'd really be interested in. Maybe in your deeper leagues, you'd be chasing Elijah Moore, 7 targets in this one. So Nick Chubb comes in. He does 11 for 22. He falls in the end zone. He also had like 1 reception for 10 yards in this one. And then Pierre Strong wasn't the guy. Deontay Foreman, it looks like they're trying to get Nick Chubb like integrated back in the offense overall. And then when it comes to the Bengals, I mean, they didn't look good, but the Browns defense is still generally okay. Chase Brown, he's the guy, 15 for 44. Compared to Zach Moss, 6 for 7. Zach Moss did lead the backfield when it comes to receiving, 3 for 3 for 33. Chase Brown, 2 for 2 for 9. T. Higgins, 8 targets. He tugs. Jamar Chase, 6 targets. He tugs on top of that. And that's pretty much like how the game went. Let's see. Moving on to Texans-Packers. This one did look like it was one of the better games of the week. And again, I haven't watched very much tape on anything. C.J. Stroud, only 86 passing yards. Joe Mixon tugs twice on the ground. And then, so there was no big news when it came to the Texans. So over on the other side, Jordan Love, 3 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions. He's a little bit of a turnover machine. Josh Jacobs, 12 for 76. He does tug through the air. You're also looking at a tug from Tucker Kraft on his 4 targets. Dontavian Wick, like 2 weeks after everybody drops him, 6 for 3 for 48 and a touchdown. Romeo Dobbs, 10 for 8 for 94. Christian Watson, 1 for 9 on 2 targets. And this one, I'm a little curious if he was one of the ones that got injured this week. don't see that. So I don't think he got injured again. This is just like going to be like one of the things that if we can't predict what usage is going to be on a week-to-week basis. And then Jaden Reed like really disappoints. Like 1 carry for 0 yards and then 4 for 2 for 10 in the passing game. What happened late is the Texans kick a field goal with like 1:44 left to go in the game. I can actually go tell you the exact numbers. So they kick a field goal with 1:44 left in the game, and then as time expires, the Packers drive back down and they kick the game-winning field goal. So that's how that game went. Back and forth on that one up there. When it comes to the Dolphins and the Colts, it's 10-3 Dolphins at halftime. It looks like Nick Hundley, he got knocked out with a shoulder injury. Tim Boyle has to come in, and the Colts are magically able to win the football game despite like neither side really being able to generate any offense. So in this game with Tyler Huntley and Tim Boyle as your two quarterbacks for Miami, Devin Achane does 15 carries for 77 yards. Raheem Mostert backs him up with 11 for 50, and then Jalen Wright does 5 for 33 in the game overall. And then we already talked about like Jonnu Smith, 7 for 7 for 96 and a touchdown, and that's with Tyreek Hill doing 2 targets and Jalen Waddle doing 2 targets also. Alec Ingold, the fullback, outproduced both those guys like 1 for 25 in the game if you're wondering overall. And then for the Colts, like Anthony Richardson, still not good, 10 for 24, 129. He does add 14 for 56 on the ground. Tyler Goodson, he was the running back to be rolling out. He does 14 for 51 and he falls in the end zone. Trey Sermon, not good at football, 8 for 36 in this game, and I think he did outproduce him in the passing game, 1 for 1 for 13. So Goodson didn't do anything there. Michael Pittman, he does play. He leads everybody, 5 for 3 for 63 in the game. And I'm not probably really worried about like A.D. Mitchell or Alec Pierce or Josh Downs because of just how the game went with Anthony Richardson as the quarterback. Lions and Vikings. This is another one that was a quote unquote good game. The NFL is just kind of not good anymore. So Jared Goff, 22 for 25, 280, 2 touchdowns. Jahmyr Gibbs rips off like a 45-yarder and an 8-yard touchdown run, 15 for 116, 2 touchdowns. David Montgomery, 9 for 31, and then he also does 3 for 3 for 39. So he fumbles late in the game, and the Vikings return that for a touchdown. Ivan Pace Jr., and Ivan Pace was a good prospect as a good linebacker. 36-yard fumble recovery, and they end up jumping ahead 29-28, and then they actually get the football back. The Vikings do. They can't ice the game, and then Jake Bates kicks the go-ahead field goal with 15 seconds left to go in the game overall. And that's with Minnesota jumps out 10-0. Then you get 21 unanswered by the Lions in the second quarter, and then Minnesota's able to claw back and take the lead based off that fumble in the fourth quarter. So that's how it went. Sam Darnold's serviceable, like 22, 27, 259, one tug, one pick, and then Aaron Jones, like he looks like he was gonna be out for the year, and now he's back to league winner, 14 for 93 and a touchdown after the bye week. Justin Jefferson, 8 for 7 for 81, a touchdown, and then Jalen Naylor pops up 5 for 4 for 76. Jordan Addison, 4 for 3 for 66. No T.J. Hawkinson in this one. All right, Eagles and Giants, and something's wrong with the Eagles offense, and it's probably by the name of Jalen Hurts right now. He does 10 for 14, 114, and 1 touchdown. Falls in the end zone twice. Saquon, 17 for 176 and a touchdown. Kenneth Gainwell got a lot of run in this game, 13 for 56, did see that. A.J. Brown scores on a 41-yard touchdown pass, 5 for 5 for 89 in this game. And then Grant Calcaterra, I mean, at the very least, he outproduced Devontae Smith. They both had, or Devontae Smith had 2 targets, 1 for -2, and Calcaterra like 1 target, 1 for 5. When you're wrong on some of these things. When it comes to the Giants, I did see it look like Devin Singletary started the game off, and then Tyrone Tracy got a lot of the work late. Didn't get much run in the passing game. That's primarily where I would have been excited for him to be used, especially in this script when they were behind. He does 3 for 3 for 9 in this game. And then Daniel Jones did get yanked for Drew Lock. Maybe that's an upgrade. Drew Lock only did 3 for 8 for 6 in this game. Malik Neighbors was disappointing, 8 for 4 for 41. But again, some teams are just going to be able to go like, that's how you want to win. We're going to take that away and do 9 targets, 6 for 23 to Wandell overall in this one. All right. Raiders and Rams, and this was another one, like a very odd game from what I could see. So it's 14-6 at halftime. Aiden O'Connell gets knocked out with a shoulder. Gardner Minshew comes in, throws 3 picks. They still almost win the, or I shouldn't say win the game. They still were competitive. Antonio Pierce, the head coach for the Raiders, decides to go for a field goal late, and instead of the potential game tying touchdown. So Daniel Carlson, 27-yard field goal with 2:46 left to go in the game. That's basically what it said. Instead of going for the touchdown and the potential tying 2-point conversion, he kicks the field goal, and then the game's over at that point. And again, that's with Gardner Minshew throwing 3 picks in this one and fumbling another one. They were able to claw back into this one. So Alexander Madison with Zamir White active. 23 for 92, again, if you trust this offense, and then another 3 for 3 for 31. Brock Bowers, full unicorn, 14 for 10 for 93, and then pretty much don't care. 8 targets did go to Trey Tucker. I don't know how consistent that's going to be with Jacoby Myers being out in this one. When it comes to the Rams, Blake Corum got mixed in early, and then it's just full bell cow. Kyren Williams, 21 for 76, 2 tugs on the ground. Matt Stafford threw a pick late. I did see that. He did throw a pick late that allowed the Raiders to get back in the game overall. And then, what's his face? Jordan Whittington, the rookie out of Texas that I did think was going to be like a pretty good run. He did play. He was active. No usage overall. Cooper Kupp was inactive in this game. We're talking a little bit more about Cooper Kupp on after waivers. On that one. And then Tyler Johnson, 7 targets, 457. Tutu Atwell, 9 targets, 6 for 51 in this game overall with all that going on. All right, let's see. Panthers and Commanders. Jaden Daniels gets knocked out early with ribs. I was seeing that he may be okay if we're worried about that type of thing going on. Andy Dalton throws 2 picks, some Bryce Young late. He wasn't very effective. Chuba Hubbard falls in the end zone late to save his day. Jontavian Sanders, 6 targets, 6 for 61. Deontay Johnson disappointing, like 3 targets. Jalen Colker, 1 target. Xavier Leggett, 3 targets. Again, this was a blowout. It was 27-0 at halftime. It was 37-0 in the third quarter. And then the Panthers finally scored a touchdown in the fourth and a field goal for the Commanders. Ben Sinnott, he scores. He finally gets opportunities, and he tugs in this game. Zach Ertz, he tugs on his 5 targets. Scary Terry, and this is without Jaden Daniels being in the game, 6 for 6 for 98 overall. Brian Robinson falls in the end zone. He's back from that knee, 12 for 71. In this one, no passing work overall. So, and again, like last time I heard, maybe Jaden Daniels is fine, good to go. It was just a huge blowout overall. Chiefs and 49ers, this was a train wreck. Some of the stuff I saw. Brock Purdy throws 3 picks. He also falls in the end zone twice. Jordan Mason, I had to actually look up at a certain point to see if he was active because he had like one yard in the first half, something like that. He finishes 14 for 58 in this game. Isaac Gariondo, only 1 carry. Looks like Brandon Ayuk tore his ACL on his 6 targets, so he's done for the year. Vacated targets tend to go to running back first, so like with CMC projected to come back in a couple weeks, that would definitely upgrade Kittle. Maybe you're looking at like Debo getting an upgrade. I think he's got a particular role in the offense. Overall, I didn't even see like any usage for Debo. I wonder if he's injured also. Yep, he gets injured also. So I didn't even see. So Debo was ruled out with an illness, so he didn't even play in this one overall. So Ricky Pearsall, like 5 for 3 for 21, and then Jawan Jennings is out. Jacob Cowlings, like 3 for 2 for 50 in this game. Like he's a wide receiver also, if you're wondering why I was looking at that. So trying to figure out what the usage is going to be going forward. Like probably Debo, and again, Debo's got a particular role in the offense. I don't think he's necessarily going to get like upgraded because of the Ayuk injury. It's going to be really interesting, like how they're going to be deploying like Jennings and Pearsall. I think they are different in their way. I could imagine that you might end up getting like a 50-50 split between the two of those guys, which means from a fantasy perspective, I probably want neither of them overall. And the main one would be Kittle if there is an injury to Ayuk. And again, the other thing is like some of the offenses we thought were going to be good are going to be bad. And I would say with the 49ers, they may not be good. So I don't know how much this necessarily like changes anything. Even when it comes to CMC, they just may be a middle of the road type of team. speaking of another middle of the road type of team that just keeps like figuring out ways to win with the Chiefs, and I did see the tape of Patrick Mahomes making it look like he was going to run out of bounds, and then turning it up on the sideline again. If players are having to play within, trying not to get like penalties, and then other players are going to be taking advantage of it, like you just don't have a good product to put on the field. So again, if these guys are going to take advantage of your rules because you don't care about like putting a good product on the field, you're just caring about revenue and ratings. You're eventually going to lose ratings, which means you're going to lose revenue because like you're not putting like, football on the field. You are like creating a spectacle where your particular players that have name brand appeal to casual audience members get to have a different rule book than the rest of the players on the field. It's a bad product. It's an easy way to look at it. So a Kareem Hunt, 22 for 78, 2 touchdowns in this game. And again, he was not efficient early. When he scored his 2 touchdowns early in the game, he was 3.5 yards per carry. He was under that. I think he was about 2 yards per carry early in the game when he did do that. Patrick Mahomes, he does tug. Mecole Hardman, he does tug in this game. They were talking about this on Twitter. Patrick Mahomes has thrown more interceptions than he has touchdowns, and the Chiefs are 6-0 in this game at this point in the season. Noah Gray, he leads all Chiefs in receiving. He's the tight end too, 4 for 66. Kelsey does 5 targets, 4 for 17. Yeah, it's just ugly, and they still win because the 49ers are not particularly good either in this one. And then I think that's about all. The Jets and the Steelers. So in this one with the game recap, so I was watching this early, and then I left to do some of the stuff I got to do on Sunday. So it was 15-6 late in the second quarter. It looks like the Jets are going to control the game. Didn't see the touchdown pass to George Pickens with 27 seconds left to go in the second quarter. And then in the second half, it's just all Steelers in this game. They were up 23-15. Like Aaron Rodgers throws 2 picks in this game. Najee punches one in with 26 seconds left to go in the game. So like whatever's going on, and I sent a text message to one of my co-managers, and we're like we're like the Jets. Like we're supposed to be good. We're just not getting it done. So Breece Hall, like he is getting it done. 12 for 38, 1 touchdown through on the ground, and then he leads all receivers like 9 for 6 for 103 in this game. Garrett Wilson 9 for 5 for 61, and then Devontae Adams first game 9 for 3 for 30 yards. On the other side, Najee does 21 for 102 and a touchdown. Jaylen Warren adds like 12 for 44. Like I don't know how this is going to work out in the backfield. And again, like how much this is the Jets being a train wreck, and how much this is Russell Wilson just being good enough to allow the Steelers to lose in the Super Bowl. George Pickens again 9 for 5 for 111 and a touchdown to go along with it. Probably don't care about much else. So I will be breaking down the numbers. I'll get out Chasing the Dragon tomorrow, it looks like, and then I'll be on track to get after waivers out like at its normal time on Tuesday. But that's how the sausage is made for week 7. Like kind of a disappointing week, low scoring, down, a lot of injuries. So yeah, I'll see you guys later.